about those.
They're yummy.
Olympia School District has approximately 9,000 students, and we feed 55% of those students lunch every day. We do have a school breakfast program where we feed approximately 1,300 students a day a breakfast. And we also have 2 snack programs. One is a federally sponsored one, and the other is a state-sponsored snack program. In 2004, our school board adopted a nutrition policy. And one piece of that policy was that the requirement for the food service supervisor, which I am currently, develop a plan how to incorporate locally grown organic produce into the school lunch program. So my plan is to have at least 50% of our produce budget go to local sources. Currently, our produce budget is $130,000. We can safely, financially, I feel, spend 50% of our produce on local sources and still give the district a break-even program. Last year, we were up to 31%. And I think this year we're going to be real close to that 50% figure.
We get organic lettuce brought in, we get squash brought in, we get tomatoes, cherry tomatoes when they're in season. Now we're dealing with Tom, you'll get to meet him later. And he's got 14 greenhouses, so he plans on producing produce for us in the wintertime as far as cherry tomatoes and cucumbers.
Well, we've been doing this for quite a few years. Actually started in 2002, and there were several reasons. And I always kind of refer to it as the perfect storm. One, about that time, we received some information from the CDC talking about the obesity epidemic in the United States and how that was filtering down to our youth. More and more of our youth were becoming obese. And also about that time, our school board was looking at the child, our lunch program. And I also had parents who were concerned about the school lunch program. They wanted to talk to me about this.
We get our apples from Eastern Washington, so they come over every Monday morning and they get fluots. Right now I've got fluots that just came in. We try and keep our fruit small because the kids are small and they love these plums. We do Asian pears we've gotten from local farmers this year too.
I met with a group of parents from Lincoln Elementary. Started out with one, and then we started had meetings that summer, and we had a room full of folks just talking about the school lunch program, and I did a lot of listening. And about the same time as I was meeting with these folks, I got wind of the farm to cafeteria movement, and it was being promoted by the Washington Department of Agriculture. So what I was hearing from the parents is they wanted more fresh fruit, they wanted fresh veggies, they want items that are locally grown, and they were talking about organic. And I thought it would be a perfect match with our agriculture community to explore this. So with the parents' help, we started talking to local farmers to see if they would be interested in working with Olympia School District. It started out with one farmer initially, up to now where I work with probably a dozen different farmers to provide fresh produce for our school lunch program.
I grow fresh picked local greens for the school district, and I grow a variety that they have asked me to grow that would appeal to the children. It would be called a leaf lettuce. It's a baby, you cut it when it's short and small so that it, as opposed to, a full-grown mature plant. It's sweeter that way. I have a 96 by 30 foot greenhouse, and it's a family business. My children help me to harvest it.
I'm changing my schedule to have stuff only when school's in. So I can have strawberries all school. Here I can have the raspberries. And I got 2 kinds of raspberries. I got red and yellow raspberries, and I got blueberries still picking. I got blackberries I'm picking right now. Still picking peaches, and I'll be picking tomatoes about the middle of November. And then I got green beans, peas, you name it, all kinds of stuff.
The farmers we work with, they've been doing this for quite a while. They've been selling their products at the farmers markets, to our local grocery stores, and to our food co-ops. They know how to get the food from point A to point B, and they work with us, and we tell them how we want it, if we want it clean, how we want it packaged. So the farmers are very receptive to our needs and can really turn on a dime to make things happen the way we want them to happen.
We don't waste nothing. Like in the stone fruit, the peaches that aren't good enough to sell, we either dry them, we have dried peaches, or we make fruit leather, and it's 100% fruit. You guys aren't going to eat anything like this ever. There's no apples, no sugar, there's no pectin, no nothing in any of this stuff. 100% peach.
When you're dealing with farmers, you have to change your thought process. So when I have potatoes on the menus, I have to give them at least a 3 weeks heads up, because they're still in the ground and they have to plan. You know, they're not only working for the school district, they have other responsibilities. So that gives them plan their labor to pick the potatoes, to clean them, and get them delivered to us. So you just have to change your thought process. But the farmers, they're so willing and to work with you.
I can make it all the same. I got plenty of berries.
Oh, if you got plenty, yeah, make it all the same.
All right. Strawberry be the first run then.
So yeah, we're getting syrup, homemade syrup.
One of the things we did this year, because we're really starting to have these established relationships with the farmers, we met this spring and we also met this fall to talk about our needs, and so they could have some idea of what we will need when school starts. So we met in the spring, and I requested items like, can you have radishes for us? Of course, they know they can sell us potatoes and carrots. And so we just met with them, told them what our needs were, and then they can kind of fit that into their plan.
When I come back here, I'll show you the squash we got in. This is from Kershaw Farms. We serve about 400 kids with this. We're gonna cook it off and serve it cold. It goes in like little portion cups with a toothpick in it. And it's for one of the state programs that we're doing.
We're at Garfield Elementary, and I just wanted to talk a few minutes about the federal fruit and veggie snack program. Garfield was awarded a grant, approximately $24,000, and we found out about it last spring, about May. So buying arrangements were made with local farmers over the summer for them to provide fruit and veggies for this grant. And today, Teresa is going to be serving organic blackberries. We purchased these this summer and we froze them, and we're using them in October, and we know the kids are going to absolutely devour these. There's approximately 400 students at Garfield Elementary, and we provide a snack for them every day, and we usually go fruit, veggie. So today's Monday, we're having blackberries. Tomorrow we're having celery from a local farmer. Wednesday we're having blueberries, again from a local farmer. Thursday we're going to try squash, which we think will generate a little bit of interest with the students, because we realize probably many of them have never had squash. And then on Friday we're having strawberries. Again, were purchased this summer and frozen just for this program. Our goal is to use the resources for this grant to use local sources as much as possible. So the $24,000 for this grant, our hopes is that the majority of that will go to our local farmers. And the comments I have heard from the teachers that when they have the snacks, it quiets the children down because they're focusing on something. They're focusing on their snack. And after that, the snack is done, they're still in that calm mood and they're ready to learn. So they have definitely noticed behavioral changes in this program.
Our garden out back has provided a lot of wonderful food for our cafeteria. For example, tomorrow we're having tacos, so we'll utilize onions and peppers and tomatoes from the garden.
How many meals do you serve a day?
We average I think we're about 320, 340 a day. And our total enrollment right now, I think, is right at kindergarten through 12th grade, is right around the 500 point. Today they brought in a bunch of potatoes, and we'll try to utilize those in different potato dishes, and what might not be table perfect, we'll process them, we'll steam them, puree them, and then use that puree in our bread recipe and make a potato bread. We also incorporate squash and pumpkin from the garden into our bread recipes, or our muffin recipes, zucchini into our muffin and bread. Sometimes we have time to dice and slice the day of, sometimes we don't. For example, tomorrow when we're going to do the peppers and onions and tomatoes, we'll get as much of it as we can. If they don't use it all tomorrow, then I will freeze it and use it in soups, chowders, whatever, in the future. We have some canned ingredients and box ingredients, but for the most part we try to scratch, bake, and cook as much as we possibly can. We just handle our produce from the garden as if it was going to be any other fresh produce or anything from anybody, and we use safe handling techniques and process it and use it.
Our local farmers are paid the same way as any of our vendors. So they get paid, we make payments twice a month. We do not require a bond for our farmers. We treat our farmers the same way as we do any business we deal with, and we don't require proof of insurance or liabilities from any of our vendors. Majority of our farmers are organic certified. And food safety is not a concern because many of these farmers have been in business for years, working with local restaurants, local grocery stores, so there's not an issue or a need for that requirement. We treat our farmers like we do any other vendor. Our food supplier, we do not require proof of insurance. The Olympia School District is a part of an insurance pool with many school districts in the area. So if there's a problem, we do have insurance.
I don't have a specific contract with the school, but I do, you know, like at the beginning of the year, before school starts, they send me like a purchase order that allows me to, you know, allows them to purchase a certain dollar amount from me under that purchase order. She calls me once a week and tells me how much she needs. This year it's been more of a specific amount each week. She's asked for a certain amount. Last year when I grew, it varied, you know, from anywhere from 30 pounds to maybe 50 pounds a week, depending on what she needed. I didn't have to get any permits to work with the school. It was it was just a verbal agreement between myself and Paul Flock to bring produce in.
One of the main job requirements for a person in my position is to give the school district a break-even program. Last year, we not only gave the district a break-even program, and this is buying all that expensive produce from the farmers, we were actually under budget for the first time since I've been here, which basically means that we spent less money last year than we did the previous year on the school lunch program. And that also was the time of high food inflation, and plus everyone received a wage increase. So by doing this, I just want to emphasize, if you look at costs, you can control them and still do the things that our public wants us to do. For instance, the farm to cafeteria program. One way we look at how to control costs is at the end of the year, we review our purchases and we look at everything that we purchase. From the amount we spend the most money on to the least amount. And we look at all these items and we say, is there cost savings by doing something different? And one of the items we decided that we would reduce is olives. Olives used to be a mainstay in our salad bars, and the kids would really load up on the olives. But again, is that something we're trying to promote? We're trying to, olive in the right quantities is a nice item, but the students were overportioning. So now we only use olives for dessert. So if we have a Greek salad, we can use olives. If we have a pizza, we might have olives, but we do not put them on the salad bar for the kids to help themselves with. There was a huge cost savings just by doing that one item. One of the ways Olympia School District tried to control costs is by eliminating desserts. We just felt that desserts didn't fit into what we're trying to do. And many times when we had desserts on the menu and I would travel to the lunchrooms and observe, the first things that were consumed was dessert, and the rest of the food that we're trying to promote, a lot of that didn't even get touched. So we decided we were going to eliminate the non-nutrient dense dessert, things like cookies and brownies. We did this several years ago, and my daughter was in elementary school, and she heard about this, and she said, "Dad, is that true that we're not going to have any more birthday cupcakes on the lunch menu?" I said, yeah, hon. And she said, "Well, that stinks." And she said, "I'm going to get my friend Jordan and we're going to start a petition to see if we can get desserts back on the menu." That was my own daughter. But again, I realized that students, just because they do not get sweets on the lunch menu, they're never going to have sweets again. They're surrounded by sweets. So this is one spot where we don't want to encourage the consumption of those non-nutrient dense items. I'm here at Pioneer Elementary, and with me is the kitchen manager, and that's Melinda, and her able assistant Vivian. And what I'd like to do is just explain to you our organic choice salad bar. So for lunch today, the kids have 3 lunch choices. First, they have chicken nuggets, and then they have a vegetarian chili dish, or else if they don't want either of those choices, they can opt for an organic choice salad bar, which has all the components of a school lunch. So one of the minimum requirements is to have protein choices, alternate protein choices on the salad bar.
Very important.
So today they have cottage cheese, they have garbanzo beans, and are those kidney beans?
Kidney beans
and kidney beans,
hard-boiled eggs.
and then have hard-boiled eggs. So that gives them the protein choice. And some of the other things, I was here last week, and we have hummus. We make our own hummus now from scratch using the USDA recipe because it's been such a popular item with the kids on the side. So the organic choice salad bar, we had organic salad delivered. Today's Monday. It was delivered to the central kitchen today, and they have it on the salad bar right now. And they also have the conventional salad as a choice too. We have organic carrots featured. We have locally grown cherry tomatoes that came from Kurtzop Farm. Then also on the fruit, we have whole fruit. We have apples, and these are pluots that come from a farm from Eastern Washington. We have Asian pears that came locally from a farm from Rochester, which is about 30 minutes from Olympia. So these are all the choices that the kids have, and I would guess they probably have a dozen veggie choices and probably 10 fruit choices. So our goal is for the kids to have a well-balanced lunch. So the more options, the more choices, the more likely they're going to put something on their plate to meet our goal and their goal of having a well-balanced lunch. I just want to share with you something about the organic salad that we purchase. And sometimes the cost can be a little deceiving. This is the organic salad that was delivered today. And Olympia, we're charged $5 a pound for the salad. Here is the processed salad, and this cost is approximately $1 a pound. So let's talk about plate coverage. This is 5 pounds of salad, so let's figure that to be about $5. And this is the same container, and you can see it takes up about the same volume, but this is only 1.5 ounces, so you're talking about $7.50. So when you're thinking of $5 a pound versus $1 a pound, you also have to think about plate coverage. And when you figure about, you get a lot more servings for the organic fresh salad than you will against the processed. So you got to take that in consideration too when you're looking at pricing. One comment I received from a parent who was having a school lunch looked at me and said, "Where in Olympia can you have an organic salad for $3.10?
Have you noticed a savings in cost because you're getting a lot of this grown right on the school grounds?
We have. Sometimes it's very noticeable, other times it's minimal, but every dime counts.
Just want to share with you one of the items we do at Lincoln Elementary, and that is the students can help themselves to the milk and pour as much milk as you want. They don't have that choice when it's in a carton. they have the half pint, and for a lot of students, that's a lot of milk. So this way they can fill up. We encourage them to fill it up to this line, which gives you 8 ounces. But if they just only want half of that, we're fine with that too, as long as they have the other components for the lunch that makes it a reimbursable lunch that we can claim.
Our participation here at the school is very good. We have a very high participation rate.
Almost every one of our staff have lunch here at Pioneer. And yes, our participation with our students has gone up also. They really enjoy it.
As well as the parents.
As well as the parents. We have a lot of parents that come in.
We have teachers from other
Schools that come over.
For this salad bar.
Yeah.
I've been working at Olympia High School for probably 13 years, and I frequently go down to the cafeteria and eat on the salad bar. It's one of my favorite things to have down there. It's got a good selection, great veggies, they're all nice and fresh, and they're organic too.
There was very little training needed for my staff when we started with the farm to cafeteria program. Most of my staff initially were very receptive to the changes because they want what's best for the kids. But it's human nature that a few of us always are going to be a little bit skeptical because of something new. So for a few of the staff members, it took some time, but after they get used to it, the products, and they get to know the farmers. And I always say that it's what we do, and it just has become a part of our culture. Working with local farms is what we do in Olympia School District.
I think there was a little bit of skepticism at the beginning of all of this, but I think the transition actually went very well.
Along with the farm to cafeteria movement and the use of fresh produce, we also are looking at our entrees that we serve, and we are looking at reducing the processed items that we have been purchasing. And we've been using more and more USDA recipes, cooking from scratch, following recipes. So we do not serve as many processed items in the past. Right now we can't eliminate them completely, but we have greatly reduced processed items. One of the things I have found when the staff realized that we're going to use more recipe is how to try to rein them in a little bit, because they love it. They will bring me recipes. They will do the research, USDA recipe. Paul, let's try this. Let's try this chicken noodle dish. So my staff really takes pride in what they do, working with recipes. It just makes them feel good. By using recipes, it has not increased our costs. We did not have to add manpower. It just changed their workday, what they did. Instead of laying out frozen stuff, they're mixing ingredients together. So it did not impact our labor costs at all.
So these are little ones. We're going to cut these up and serve them as JoJo's for the state program. Kids love these as Joe's. We cut them up and then bake them in the oven, put a little Johnny's on them. They love them. We do the processing here. We'll cut these here and then we send them out in water and they cook them out there. So, they get a little extra time for the state burn program, but it doesn't take that long to throw them in the oven and just put them on a pan. They're all ready to go for them. We just pour a can of beans, a couple cans of beans in here, and add or lemon juice, and garlic, and sun butter. We use sun butter instead of peanut butter, it calls for. Okay, and then we just blend it in here, and the kids love it. We serve it with pita bread, serve it on the salad bars for protein. It's basically the steak recipes, yeah. Like with the hummus, I can put red peppers in it, make it a little different flavor. We can use a lot of our stuff that needs to be used.
Our schools in Olympia School District are very well equipped. All of our schools have dishwashers, so the transition from disposable to reusable was minimal. The labor needed to do that was minimal. The added cost going from reusable, disposable was really budget neutral. The costs were minimal, but we recouped those costs as the months and years go by.
We expanded our big freezer. In fact, I can show it to you. It's huge. This was when we had a remodel. So we've got a lot. This is a freezer. We've got a huge one back there. We got one here. We've got a lot of freezer room. And he's willing to freeze them for us, too, if we don't have the room.
As I mentioned before, we have a policy that the school board wants food service to work with local farmers. But we have taken it one step further, and we're also looking at other local business to help with the school lunch program. One local business is Bagel Brothers, and they're really a well-established restaurant in town, and their claim to fame is their bagels. Well, we have a buying relationship with them, and we've had it for many years, where they make bagels every day, fresh every day, and deliver them to our 2 high schools and to our 4 middle schools. It is the single most popular item that the students consume. So it's baked daily, fresh every day, delivered to our schools. No preservatives in the bagels at all, and that's one of the points that the owner and I worked with.
To the schools, we deliver about 50 dozen bagels a day, and we probably deliver about 50 pizzas a day. And about 20% of my business is with the Olympia School District.
Another cost-saving measure that we took is to make our own pizzas, but we know the key to the pizza is a good crust. And I just couldn't find any good frozen crust out there that the kids were responding to. Well, Mark Fagan, the owner of Bagel Brothers, said, "Paul, let me try it."
With the pizza shells, we started delivering those about 4 years ago, and it was just a kind of an offhanded conversation that Paul and I had about pizzas, and he was getting certain pizzas from another company. And I said, well, I'd like to be able to have a try making your pizza shells. Oh, and by the way, mine are just like the bagels in that they're made fresh every day, and there's no preservatives. And then I said, and if you look at the label for the pizzas that the schools are carrying, they have trans fat, and they're loaded with lots of other things that you probably don't want to serve the kids. And he said, well, if we could do that, that would be great. So I went back and I played in the kitchen for a while and came up with a pizza shell that resembled what they were getting, so that the kids would like, okay, this is good. We started delivering them to one of the high schools, and then the following year it was the 2 high schools in the school district, and then the following year it was all the secondary schools.
We do pepperoni, we do Canadian bacon and pineapple, and cheese is a big seller, and pesto. We serve a pesto pizza.
One of the things I find working with local business is the flexibility they have. I wanted to make sure that the crust had protein in it, so Mark developed a crust that had soy flour and egg. So it gave us a little bit of protein in the crust, which meant that we didn't have to top it with so much protein to get the 2 ounces of protein that is required per serving. So when you're working with local business, they're just so receptive, and it's not like you're working with a big corporation. We dress the pizza with commodity pizza sauce and commodity cheese, so we're able to save quite a bit of money district-wide, and again, the money we save, we pour back into the school lunch program to work with local farmers and other local business. Mark also is working on developing a calzone crust for us, an organic calzone crust. And again, we will supply all the toppings, and he's developing the crust for us. So it's a way to keep the revenues in our community, strengthen our local economies, and I just think we're obligated to look locally first before we look elsewhere.
Whenever there's an increase in business, I have to hire additional staff. When I go back and I'll tell my current staff, I said, well, we've added this much business. We're now going to do this. And they look at me and they go, gee, what are we going to do? And I go, well, hire more people. We are virtually run around the clock now. We have a retail outlet that's open about 12 hours a day, but our staff is actually virtually 24/7.
My advice to other schools or some of my colleagues who are looking at this is to start small. One of the main concerns I hear from my colleagues is the cost impact of organic and locally grown produce, because we know it costs more. So I would advise them just start small so you can monitor your cost and seek out other ways for cost savings. For instance, in Olympia School District, we knew that local produce is going to cost more. So we had a plan how to offset that. And our plan was to eliminate some of the things that weren't necessary for our school lunch program. We also looked at ways of reducing our general expenses, our paper, our plasticware that we had went along with our lunches. So we just eliminated those and replaced those with reusable items. And we were able to cut our general cost by 50%. So that money we used to purchase the more expensive and healthier It's not only more expensive, healthier local produce.
Once a lot of the kids who work out in the garden and the classroom out in the garden, they see what's going on there, and when they put it together that, hey, the peppers, the tomatoes, the produce, the lettuce, things that we've grown out there, they see it here. And it really puts it all together for them.
It shows the commitment that the school has to the children's health on every level, including that physical well-being. And if I'm not able to make her lunch, then I know she's going to eat really healthy and not be filled up with chemicals and pesticides.
We always tell the kids that this came from the garden, and they always get really excited because they helped grow it and they helped harvest it, and then we tell them here it is for lunch, and they really enjoy that.
I feel like it's great that the children are getting exposed to healthy, even organic food, whole food. I know that all their food's not necessarily organic, but I know that this school is trying to buy as healthy a food as they can get, and that's what I appreciate about this school.
In all honesty, it's a good feeling to be able to provide the schools with something that we feel is healthier. And I remember when the schools were first starting to get the bagels, we were standing in the kitchen and Paul was explaining to the staff about how we are now going to be getting Bagel Brothers bagels, and one of them piped up, well, gee, this is really going to hurt our donut sales. And Paul said, good.
In 2008, Nash's Organic Produce shipped a huge amount of produce off the Olympic Peninsula to wholesalers who distribute it all over the Northwest. We shipped over 175,000 pounds of carrots, 43,000 pounds of beets, 120,000 pounds of cabbage, 12,000 pounds of parsnips, 4,000 pounds of potatoes, 25,000 pounds of rutabagas, 7,500 pounds of leeks, 5,000 pounds of cucumbers, and over 1,000 pounds of turnips. We're growing lots of food and we're shipping it off the peninsula because we don't have a market for it here. We'd love to see it in your cafeteria.